All right, here we go again. Scotland A to Z. This is tasting number 196, 196 of the Saratoga Whiskey Club. Just a couple of notes because I know some people plan ahead. I haven't sent the email out yet, but in February, I think the plan is going to be the 12th, which is a Thursday. We're going to do a virtual class with Jay from the Whiskey Lab, and that's actually going to be our Independent Bottlers Day, Independence Day. We're getting a bunch of new bottles in from him, and since we haven't gotten any in a little while, we thought, why not just combine that with Independence Day? So that Thursday will be Independence Day. And then the week after, I believe on the 18th, which is a Wednesday, I'm wanting to do a Found North vertical. I have like 7 different Found Norths that are all very special. Not any of the batches. These are all like the special release, older ones. And I'm going to try and get one of the Taylor brothers to get online with us and do a little vertical Found North. And then I'm leaving for Japan in March. So I was thinking right before leaving of doing a little Irish celebration and as a 200th tasting of the club as well. I have some pretty special Irish bottles that we brought back, and maybe do a little potluck thing too. I don't know. We'll see. But just have a little Irish celebration since I won't be here for St. Patrick's Day. And yeah, and then the lounge I think is going to be the let's see, 12th, 19th, 20th, the 20th, yeah, 20th I think is a Friday. I don't know. So just kind of put those dates down in pencil. We'll see if that all sticks, but that's kind of my plan right now. But all right, so we're going to do some fun bottles tonight. We're going to continue our journey through Scotland A to Z. This is part 8. So we are going through, at the end of this tasting, 48 distilleries. Not bad. That's still only about a third of the way. So we still have quite a journey in front of us. Now, a couple of notes before we get into our first whiskey. We did have to skip over some silent distilleries. As we saw in the Seas, there were quite a few silent distilleries. We had Caledonian, which we tasted. We had Cambus, which we tasted. Caperdonic, which we tasted. So we were able to get those. Carsbridge, which we got as well. So we did taste from 4 silent distilleries in the Seas. But then there were a couple that were really hard to get or very expensive, just way too expensive to make work in a tasting like this. I'm already getting, really kind of special whiskeys for these tastings, but these are like double, triple, even more. So one was, and this would have been last time, it was this Chain Pier Crabby Distillery, which is actually a distillery that was in Leith, just outside of Edinburgh. And then there's Colburn, which would have been part of this tasting, because we ended with Clynelish last tasting. So Colburn would have been one of those. They're up in the Speyside region. I actually went into the warehouses at Colburn, which was pretty cool. And actually they are talking about starting up that distillery again as well. We'll see what happens with this climate. And then there's Convalmore, which I didn't actually do my homework on that one. I'm not sure where that one is, but that's a silent distillery that we're skipping as well because it's just impossible to get a bottle. And then actually during this tasting as well, there's 2 others, kind of crazy. One is called Craigduff, which is silent. And then there's another one called Craigellachie, which actually was a part of Loch Lomond, but now is considered a silent distillery offering. So quite a few C's we had to skip over just because there was nothing we could do about it. But it is what it is. So we are going to do Cragganmore, Craigellachie, Croftengea, which is part of Loch Lomond, Bocan, which is part of Tomatin, Daftmill, Dailuaine. That's what we're doing today. Next up, which again might be impossible to get, is another silent called Dallas Dew. Would be amazing to get a bottle of Dallas Dew, but I don't know about that. That could be a reach, but I will start working on that because I think it will be in April when we have part 9. So, all right, so let's get started with our first dram tonight. Pretty special one. We're actually starting off with a bang tonight. Yeah, so we're starting with Cragganmore, and with all of these distilleries tonight, I do have a video to share too. I'm probably gonna, skip through parts of the video, and hopefully there isn't too much of a lag, or it doesn't stop too much. But I'll read a little bit about Cragganmore. We'll watch a little video, and we'll taste this first bottle, which is an independent bottling. This is the bottle here. It's called the First Editions, which is they're from Edition Spirits Limited. But this is a single cask that's 26 years old. It was distilled in 1995 and bottled in 2022. It is cask strength, obviously, one of 590 bottles from a sherry butt. Okay, so we're starting off with a big old sherry butt, 54.7% ABV.
How many bottles did you say?
590 bottles. So Cragganmore is a distillery that's located in the Speyside region, founded back in 1869 by John Smith. Proximity to the waters of the Craggan Burn, which is close to the Strathspey Railway. So we know with a lot of these distilleries up in the Speyside, they're either one right next to the river or a tributary for water source, or secondly, they're along the railway so that they could send product south. It's also there's a walking route through the Speyside, a long distance walking route called the Speyside Way. And it's right on that route. So kind of cool. That would be a fun distillery to visit. Holly and I were talking about Cragganmore earlier today. And she was saying that they are open to the public, and that is normally the case. They do have a visitor center and experience. But when I was doing a little bit of my research today, I saw that they had actually closed their distillery just this last summer for visitors. So I don't know if they're just taking a break or if they're actually pulling back. I just read that Clynelish closed their visitor center today as well. So we're seeing some of these Diageo distilleries go through some interesting times with employees and staffing, and they obviously spent a lot of money in building up these places. But yeah, they're at the moment not open to the public. But yeah, so let's see here. Yeah, they're part of Diageo now. We're going to see in the video that I play right now that their stills are actually unique. You see this at a couple of distilleries in Scotland, but they actually have a flat top and they're relatively short. And what I mean by a flat top is when the neck of the still goes up, there'll be a plate or a flatness at the top instead of it just continuing and turning into a line arm. Sometimes this was the case because of the size of the building that they were in. And then sometimes this was just kind of a funky way to make a different style of spirit too.
What effect does that have?
So what happens when you have a flat top is the steam or the vapor actually hits that and drops back down. So instead of it just being a continually light and kind of lighter spirit, this actually makes it a denser oilier spirit because it's dropping back in. So it's harder for that vapor to get out when it hits a flat top. So
is the exit lower?
Yeah, so the exit is just almost right off to the side of the flat top. You know, it's not like further down. It's right there, but you'll see. I'm gonna play the video now, and you'll kind of see that. Hopefully, I think the video has a good picture of it, but we'll find out. So let me pull this up here, and just give me a second to just load this first video.
Very nice whiskey. It is nice. It's high ABV for the age, isn't it? 57. Wouldn't you expect to lose a little more? 26 years.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how it's stored, I guess.
Okay, just give me a second here.
It depends. So like in Kentucky,
I'm gonna do closed captions, full screen, and then I'm gonna move this so everybody here can see it. All right, this might be
Okay.
might be a little hard for Lucas.
I'm fine.
it's hard for me to see anyway.
Yeah. Nothing out of you.
Hello and welcome to Whiskey.com, where fine spirits meet. And today I'm still here in the Spey side, and behind me is the big river Spey. Yeah, because it's the Spey side. But today we're not talking just about the Spey, but the Strathspey Railway. It was an old railway that was discontinued in the 1960s, but some private guys made it happen and even continued a bit longer. But at some point they actually took out all the rails and really demolished it. And what's left today is a pathway. It's a nice walkway between Craigellachie and Ballinballoch, and it's about 19 kilometers, and you can just walk along the Spey. So it's really a beautiful walk and just a scenic route through the Spey side. And what's important about this position here is that there's a small burn feeding the Spey, and it's the Cragganmore. Yeah, the Cragganmore leads a bit up the hill and supplies the Cragganmore distillery, and that's what we're going to look at today. Let's talk about the history of the Cragganmore distillery. The distillery was founded in 1869 by John Smith. And John Smith was really a special, extraordinary person. The first thing we know about John Smith, he was called Big John. Big John, why was he called Big John? Because he was a really, really large person. And for that time, he was extraordinarily large. He was said to be that he was 140 kilos heavy. And that meant that he was not allowed to ride in a normal trained car. He always had to ride in a guard's van. Yes, back in the days, you had guards on trains. So, yeah, it was a bit more of an adventure to drive or travel through the countryside. And he was a really, really big fan of railway. So he was also working in the whiskey business. He worked for MacPhail, he worked for Glenfarclas, for Glenlivet. And so he was really a well-known specialist within the whiskey industry. He combined these two trades, the railway and the whiskey business. So he knew the railway was built being up here or near the River Spey, and he knew there's good water around. So he thought, let's build a new distillery at the foot of the hill of the Cragganmore Hill, which is seen behind the distillery. And he knew there was good water here, good spring. So he built the distillery. And in 1887, the first train left the area with 74,000 liters of whiskey. So his dream came true. Unfortunately, he passed away 1 year before that. Really unlucky man. But his dream
But he
came
was a
true.
big,
And he passed on the distillery to his son, which his son rebuilt the distillery together with the famous architect Charles Doig, who designed a lot of distilleries. And he made the distillery what it is today. The distillery was sold a couple of times.
a little bit.
It's the old Porter's Mill.
We've seen
And
those.
this malt mill doesn't really mill like,
Here we
from
go.
a mill. And with this combination, it goes off to the mash tun. So 7 tons of these grists end up here in the mash
That's a
tun.
lot of risk.
They'll be mixed with the Cragganmore water that we stored on the cooling line. And they're being filled in here with very hot water and being raked and all of the
All right, that's the mash
and
tun.
continuously fill up the wash
And then we'll
bag.
go to the wash backs.
And when the wash bag is filled up enough, and then they still gonna do mashing because there's and yes, they are wooden wash bags. They look pretty new, but pretty new for a wash bag is 10 to 20 years. They're filled up continuously from the mash tun to up to 30,000.
All right, now we go to the
So I'm
stills.
standing here in the stills room, and we have 4 beautiful copper stills, 2 wash stills, 2 spirit stills. The wash stills are filled with 9,200 liters, and the spirit stills are filled
Yeah, see the
with
flat top there?
6,100
The
liters.
last one.
What is unique about Cragganmore is they are Speyside, but they don't have the stereotypical Speyside character. They're not round, sweet, smooth. They're a bit more spicy and rough. So what they do here in the distillation for that is they actually distill fast. So they boil pretty strong, pretty fast, and distill as fast as possible. And the other thing that they do is they have warm tubs. Warm tubs are a very traditional way of condensing your alcoholic vapors back into spirit. So what that actually is a big tub, and there are pipes going in circles around in there, and this cools the vacuum, the vapors of alcohol, and
Don't show the
you
top
get
of
the
that.
spirit. And the last thing that we have here at the spirit still is
Right
we
there.
have a flat top. And there are 2 legends about why you have a flat top. First one is John Smith was a brilliant distiller, and he actually wanted the flat top to just get the right character for Cragganmore. And the other one is the roof was too low, they didn't fit it in. People we don't know, so it's there are 2 legends out there. Yeah, so what we end up here is a really rough, tough, spicy raw spirit for the maturation. So I'm standing in one of these nice storage warehouses where there's
All right, that's enough on that video. But you got a little bit of a sense of Cragganmore. You know, you could see how beautiful an area that is where it's located. Obviously has great water source, has great access to transportation. It came around a little bit later. So when you think about like the distilleries that started, say, 80 years earlier or so in that region, a lot of those were illicit at the time. Oops, what happened there? And then when the excise tax came through in 1823, and they all became legal at that point or paying tax, they were still, there wasn't necessarily a railway or transportation at that point. So distilleries that came about a little bit later in the 1800s thought a lot about location in terms of getting product south. So Cragganmore was part of that kind of wave of trains and transportation and stuff like that. So kind of cool. I think this is a delicious dram. This is not a cheap one. This is, I think, actually, it might be the most expensive bottle of the night. I believe it was around $400.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was $400 or maybe a little bit more, actually. Let's see if I can get my notes. Oops, sorry.
Delicious.
Oh, no, that's a good
The email said it was a $500 bottle.
Nice and light.
They said your email said 500, Charles.
Yeah,
I don't think it takes what 108, 109.
yeah. I mean, that sounds about right. It was up there. It might have been around, like 380 pounds or 400 pounds. Maybe that's what I was thinking. But yeah, so not a cheap bottle. But you don't find Cragganmore that often to begin with. It's used primarily for blends, and they don't really release anything as a distillery. So unless you get like maybe one of the Diageo special releases, but I don't even think Cragganmore is part of that, but maybe they are. Yeah, so this is kind of a special whiskey to start with, but hope you enjoyed it.
It's really well balanced. I feel like. I think balance 24. Special.
The sherry in it.
Yeah.
It's a sherry butt. It's definitely a used, second fill sherry probably, or third, maybe even third fill, because you're getting sherry notes,
Yeah, but it's
definitely,
not-
but it's
it's
not
really
overwhelming.
No, it's more leathery than it is raisiny and sweet.
Yeah. All right, I think we should end the tasting there tonight.
Thank you very much.
Fine.
We will see you guys in a week for Burns night. Hope you had a good night.
Wait a minute.
It's all downhill from here, guys.
Are the people in the room misbehaving? Is that what's going on, Charles?
No, we're good. Actually, they're being very good tonight. We don't have Benny here tonight, and he's going to be watching this later. But Benny is a troublemaker. That guy, like, he doesn't know when to stop. It's like he just keeps going. So,
We don't want to be looped in with any of those.
no. All right, so let's move on. We're going to move on to a really horrible distillery.
Holly's least favorite distilleries.
It's definitely a distillery that none of us really appreciate very much. Craigellachie.
I'm here. I'm just dealing with Leo. So
Sorry. Yeah, when you do two worm tub distilleries back to back, things are usually pretty bad. So we are actually, if Holly wants to talk a little bit about Craigellachie, that would be amazing. However, she doesn't have to, because I do have it written down. But if you do feel like doing the quick 2-minute spiel, you're more than welcome to it. I do have a video on the worm tubs of Craigellachie, so with Matthew. So I will play that, but they don't really talk about the history at all. I don't know if you remember any of that anymore, but and you are on mute.
I do kind of. You're gonna hear Leo crying in the back. It was founded in the late 1800s. It's in Craigellachie, the village. So if you go and stay there, that's where the Craigellachie Hotel is, the Highlander Inn. So two of the best whiskey bars in that Speyside region. I think was I don't know, but maybe like 100 people live in the village of Craigellachie. It's pretty small. But the distillery was built in the late 1800s during that kind of traditional boom. And it was, let's see if I can remember. Okay. Peter Mackey. Oh, and I'm drawing a blank on the other founder. But Peter was the kind of crazy guy. And they were also involved in Altmore. as well. So they're kind of viewed as sister distilleries, Craigellachie and Altmore. To your bed.
Yeah, it was Peter Mackey.
Peter Mackey, yeah. But it's always been viewed.
Is that the worm tub?
I was gonna say,
Howling?
It's always been viewed as an old school. He's fine.
He's not in any pain or anything.
We just played ball for 30 minutes. It wasn't enough, obviously. It's always been viewed as hold on, I'll be right back.
Bob's trying to give a presentation.
How about I talk about the bottle while Holly's away dealing with the dog? We're having a Murray McDavid independent bottling tonight. This is a 14-year-old Craigellachie. It was distilled in 2009, bottled in 2024. It's 58.6% ABV, and it is finished in a Saint-Julien wine cask. And I looked up Saint-Julien, and they make primarily Bordeaux blends in France. So that's what we're having tonight. Now, okay, it doesn't say how long the finish was. Sometimes on the back of these, they mention how long the finish was, but not on this one.
I think I put it in the email that went out today. It's
Oh, really?
yeah, it's fairly long.
Oh, yeah. Final 6 years.
Mhm.
Final 6 years in French oak or French wine barrique.
Yeah.
Which that would really be called more of like a second maturation, not even a finish,
Yeah,
because it's so long.
right.
Well, I don't know if you want to hear about Craigellachie anymore, but it's consistently been viewed as just kind of stuck in time. So it's changed ownership many times over the years, like a lot of distilleries. And then in the 1990s, it was sold off to Bacardi. Diageo, which was then DCL, was a monopoly and owned too many distilleries. And they were forced to sell off some of the distilleries. And that's when Dewar's, Altmore, Royal Brockla, Craigellachie, and Aberfeldy were sold to Bacardi. And so it's really just kind of changed hands. They expanded in the 70s a bit and went from 2 pot stills to 4. But they've always maintained the worm tubs, which I know we've talked about with a lot of different distilleries. But what makes it a little bit different and kind of a nod to back in time is that up until actually just last year, they are the last distillery to burn crude oil under their malt. So there was a little bit of a weird transition period as the railroads started to come up into the Speyside region from the cities, and you had coal and you started to get away from peat. That wasn't your main fuel source anymore. Craigellachie actually used a mix of like peat and oil and never really transitioned away from the oil. And we actually went and visited their malting facility, which was over, I'm drawing a blank on the name, but it was over south of Aberdeen, and they had a dedicated kiln, and it was pretty nasty wild. The crude oil that they were burning, definitely not great for the environment or the people that worked there. They actually were kind of forced to get rid of it, but apparently the blending team has and the distilling team has figured out how to run the stills to get the same influence. And basically that crude oil is, think of how peat attaches to damp barley as you're drying it in the beginning of the process. That crude oil gives it that gives it a bit of an oily texture, but it also gives it some of these burnt smoke qualities, like people talk about like charred fruits, and so not quite a chocolate or roasted malt, but like this in between of peat and funk and some oil. So we'll see how Craigellachie transitions away from this old practice. Now, what we're drinking would have used the crude oil. So it would still have that. The wine's pretty heavy on this one. So,
Yeah, it
you know,
definitely overtakes a lot of that.
yeah, and you see that a lot because Craigellachie is so heavy as a distillate. You'll see a lot of people put it into wine and sherry to control it, but just ex-bourbon Craigellachie is can be pretty wild. And Stephanie McLeod, the head blender for Dewar's, always talked about how Craigellachie's a really sought after malt for blenders for blended Scotch because it's always been known if you want to kind of give some weight or some she called it elbow grease, but like give some weight to a blend without using a peated malt, without making it smoky. Craigellachie was always the one that people would ask for. It gives kind of this heavy weight to a whiskey. Even though it sits in the heart of Speyside, there's definitely a sweet fruit component to it, but it comes along with that heavier funk. And I think it's just there's nothing that really tastes like it, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so that was great. Thank you, Polly, for that.
Mhm.
I'm going to share this video real quick on worm tubs at Craigellachie. It's short, so we won't be on this strand for too long, but let me get this one going here.
So that here is normally a Shell tube condenser. Basically, it's a very small, tight space for the vapors to start to condense again into liquid. Because it's a tight space and surrounded by copper, there's a lot of copper contact, so that strips some of maybe the sort of bigger, heavier notes like the whiskey goes to a lighter character. And with Craigellachie, we're not looking for that. We're looking for that big, meaty, kind of full body experience.
So those are the worm tubs there.
They're called worm tubs because it looks like big worms almost snaking through. It starts off as really, really big areas at the top, and it gets steadily smaller and smaller and smaller. There's more room, there's less copper contact for those vapors to travel through. So basically, it leaves you with a much bigger, sort of richer character. Like in the viscosity, the way it feels in your mouth is very different as well. That coupled with the barley we use from Glen those are the sort of two big factors that make Craigellachie overcome.
Sure, attention span. Cookies video, I think you've ever. Hey
All right, that was cool. Very quick, but very cool. You get a little bit of a sense. And I can't remember the number of distilleries that use worm tubs in Scotland now. It's not a big number. It's less, I believe it's less than 20. I think it's like 16 or something like that. But it's not a big number, but some of the best whiskey comes from these distilleries because of that heaviness, oiliness that you get from these distilleries. So definitely the wine is very strong on this. It's very tasty. This is something that, I could see like a wine sherry fan, even though if they weren't maybe a Craigellachie fan, because again, it's a little bit hidden. I think this would be a great one to share, but it is quite strong.
What was the price of this one, Charles?
I think it's $149.
What was the style of wine again? It was red, but what's it? A Cabernet?
$145.
Do you see a blend of Bordeaux?
Bordeaux.
Yeah, it's a Bordeaux blend.
Okay.
So it said it was Saint-Julien, right? So that's a left bank region that is Cabernet forward.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Water. Okay, now we are going to move into a little bit of smoke. Just giving you guys a heads up. Again, we're doing this in order, so there's no rhyme or reason besides the alphabet about this tasting. Nothing to do with ABV, nothing to do with flavors. This is all A to Z. So okay, so Loch Lomond is the distillery, but like some of these distilleries, there are different spirits made, and they have their own names, right? So we're going through this alphabetically, and we're including those as well, because there's not just a Loch Lomond style, because they make different styles. They're actually a really, really interesting distillery. I did get to visit them this year or last year, which was pretty fun. They're the only distillery in Scotland that actually makes both malt and grain whiskey. So they actually have column stills there, and then they have their traditional copper pot stills. And some of their distillate or some of their whiskeys that they make combine the two. Some of them are even malted barley on their column still. You know, they do a lot of varieties of whiskey at Loch Lomond. But what we're drinking tonight is what, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I always question myself on this one, but it's Croftengea. Or Croftengea. I have no idea. I don't. Holly, do you have an idea how they pronounce this one?
I say Croftengea.
Croftengea, yeah. The site of the former distillery goes back to 1814, but the true present distillery started in 1964, and it's actually quite an industrial looking facility. I do have a video on this distillery as well, but it is right in the Loch Lomond Lake area, the southern kind of side of it. Really a beautiful area there, but it is in a warehouse kind of district, so it's not like this pristine Speyside distillery that we've seen. The grain distillery opened in 1994, so that was a later addition. So now they do both malt and grain there. And then it is part of, what's this? Oh, Croftengea. Croftengea. Yeah. Croftengea. No, we got a phonetic thing. But yeah, so we are drinking tonight an Infrequent Flyers. So we've had a few of these. These are not available in the US. These are in another independent bottler that hasn't made it yet to our side of the pond. Some of them have been, you know, I have to put it out there. Infrequent Flyers has been great overall, but there's been some ups and downs. I've had some that are better than others. They always get unique whiskey. I have to say, they're very good at finding unusual barrels. And I have to give it to them for that. This one was distilled in 2005. It's a 19-year-old, 269 bottles. It's Moscatel hogshead. Okay, it's a finish, a Moscatel finish. This one's 54.5%. Now, Croftengea, or Croftengea, however you say it, is only 10% of what Loch Lomond makes, okay? This is considered their highly peated spirit. This is the only peated, or maybe they have an intermediate peated spirit, but their highly peated is called Croftengea, and they do 10% of their malt is Croftengea. So this is not going to be an Isla peat, you know, or even a coastal peat. This will be more of a kind of a Highland peat. Huh. So it definitely has a very light peat component. It's not a heavy, I mean, for them, this is heavy peat, but it's not a heavy peat for in general. It's still a pretty light Highland peat. I'll play the video just on Loch Lomond so you can get an idea of their distillery. Let me pull it up first though to make sure it's ready. I do like that Moscatel finish, and I think from what I found with lightly peated, it is sweet. There is sweetness to it, but that's Moscatel. I mean, what do you expect? Muscatel's a dessert wine, so it's what is going on here? Jeez. Got stuff playing in the background here. All right, let me share this video so you guys can see Loch Lomond. Now again, it's fairly industrial, just keep that in mind. But it's still a pretty cool place, and got to visit there almost a year ago now. They're not open to the public at this facility. I don't know if there's any talking on this. It might just be
They own Glen Scotia also.
dance music. Yeah, so the parent company owns Glen Scotia as well.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. Better pretty soon.
No, but this was probably close to 200 at least. Well, Croftengea is the style of whiskey that they make, or one of the styles that they make. So if we get to Loch Lomond, it wouldn't be represented.
There.
Port Charles,
Sponsor field.
I know.
Yes,
Yeah, and
right.
I should have bought some that.
In the airport, 150th anniversary of St. Andrews.
So they have unique stills too. Look at their stills. They have like these kind of black.
Almost look like hybrids. That straight neck.
Those aren't Lomond stills, which is
Oh, those must be the columns.
Yeah, no, those aren't the column stills. No, those
So
are
you
not.
probably just said they're not.
No, the lines are from the copper plates. That is the column still.
No,
but technically that's not the original Lomond still at Loch Lomond.
Movement stills. Those aren't continuous stills. The continuous stills are on the left. Right. No,
Right.
those aren't. No. They're you can't see them.
They have plates on.
No, those are just the welding. There's no plates in there.
Oh, it said that in their subtitles.
I'm just saying though, those are like, okay, maybe there's one or two plates in there, but not like a traditional column still where there's 30 plates. So that is kind of a hybrid, but they do have column stills too, which are normal, big, 30-foot, 60-foot.
I don't know. What was that? Adding color?
This is what it looked like, right?
These are the columns. Super tall.
Wow. And they're doing malted barley in the columns.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's amazing how induction it's like we sweep the floor.
All right, let me stop this here. All right, so you got to see what's going on. All right. Hey, Holly, can you chime in a little bit on the Lomond stills and how those are? Do you know about those? Like, I mean, obviously the shape is different. It almost looks like a hybrid pot still, but are there actual like plates in that as well?
Back in the day, there could have been. It was meant to be able to create different styles. But as far as I've seen in Scotland, if a whiskey distillery has them, there's no plates.
Yeah.
It's just an alternative
it's just a
shape
different shape. Okay.
to the. But that's kind of what you see in the U.S. The hybrid still. That's the the original way that they would have designed it.
Right.
So no, they don't have, like Scapa has one. There's still some distilleries that
But they don't have
this one.
actual like the
But there's no plates anymore.
What do you guys think of this one?
I like this one.
I really like it as it warms up.
I think a couple of people said here it kind of grows on you too. You know, like once you get over that initial kind of dram taste. I think the Moscatel actually fades a little bit the more you drink this. It kind of maybe subsides a tiny bit, which actually makes it a little bit more pleasant for me, because you're tasting more of the spirit itself. Yeah, I think it's kind of fun too.
Yeah, this one's not my favorite.
Not your favorite?
No, the first taste was a little off-putting. It got a little better, but I don't love it.
Noted, Larry. Noted.
Oh, just to second that, for me, there's something about it that doesn't quite come together. There's sort of a sweet, almost like sugar water, but fruit side, and then the peaty side that's a little bit different, and they just don't quite jive to me. I don't know why. Not quite integrated.
All right.
Oh, but the true Bocan is also peated though, right?
Oh, maybe the fact that I hate Muscatel is part of it, but I don't.
That might do it. The next one is. That's how you pronounce that. I don't know. Oh, way off.
I drink Muscatel every night. I don't know what you're talking about.
If you hate Muscatel, you probably shouldn't buy this one.
Copper Bocan.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was weird good. I'm with Holly on this one. Quirky, good.
Yeah.
Tastes better if you drink it out of a paper bag.
I want to see something. I want to see the first whiskey that uses a Mad Dog barrel.
A screwball barrel.
A screwball barrel.
All right, so we're going to move on to the second half of our tasting. I know this is taking a little bit, but that's what these are all about. You know, we take our time, enjoy it, learn, expand the horizons, right, Dave? Yes, yes, all good.
Spirit dog. Is that what it is?
All right, so we're going to move on to Kubocan or Kubocan. I don't know. There are lots
They just said it's Kubocan.
Kubocan.
Copper bacon.
Copper bacon.
Copper bacon. I like that
All right.
one.
So similar to Loch Lomond, Kubocan or Kubocan, whatever, is a spirit that's made by Taman, that they only make 1 week out of the year. So Croftengea from Loch Lomond was 10% of what they make, and Kubocan from Tomatin is just 1 week of what they make. So if you think about it, Balvenie, I think they do their peat week for a couple of weeks, or it's not a long period of time, but kind of similar kind of principle, right? So some of these distilleries like to to experiment with different things, but Kubakan has been made for quite a long time. I remember my first visit to Tomatin was in 2015, so almost 11 years ago now, and Kubakan was all over the place on the shelf. We are drinking tonight a bottle that I had sent over because, again, I've never really seen it. I don't even know if it's in the U.S. Have you ever seen it in the U.S., Holly? Kubakan? Maybe, right? Like
No, so I made a mistake and on my last trip, and we went to Tomatin, and I told someone on the trip, do not buy this here. We can get it in the US.
Oh.
And then it was their favorite whiskey, this 15.
Oh. Did you buy
And I was so certain. And remember, I came back and I searched and searched, and I was like, oh no, it's not here.
Yeah.
So I owe him a bottle of this whiskey.
Yeah. All right. So this one is this is actually a 15-year-old Kubakan, fully matured in Oloroso sherry casks. This one is actually only 50% ABV, though. It's not a cask strength whiskey. And that's all I got on this bottle. I do have a video on Tomatin. It is a very wonderful place to visit. I've been there a few times now, and they really make some beautiful whiskey. One of my actually favorite distilleries, to tell you the truth, when it comes to MacPhails and some of the delicious whiskey that comes out of that place. I mean, forever, the Tomatin 18 year was one of my favorite inexpensive drams to get pretty much anywhere. And it's starting to get harder to find. But yeah, they go back to, let's see here, they go back to 1897. Again, similar kind of reason, they were right on the railway. They actually built a whole campus there for the people who work there. I think at one point there were 60 employees and families all living on the distillery site. They were very good about that and keeping their employees happy with everything. And let's see. Yeah, and then they were, they're now owned by Takara Shuzo, which is a Japanese conglomerate, renamed Tomatin Distillery Company Limited. But yeah, let's watch a little, let me get this video up so you get just a sense of Tomatin. Let me close these other ones real quick.
I like that. That's really good. Yeah. This is
Good shit.
This is a good night.
Yeah. Yeah. So far. Yeah. Wow. It's interesting. I would not.
You're right. We don't even fish this.
anything that starts with a D.
So this, I would not.
Oven day are.
So he's got the notes. It says distinct with sun-dried fruits.
All right, we got more disco music.
Yeah, I got cinnamon clove spiced apples. That's what I got. Apple. Candy apple.
There it is.
It's on the edge of the space. It's not really in the space side, just south of it. There's the one you can walk into. Actually stand inside that.
Right.
Yeah. It's cut in half. So you can walk like.
want to let Benny in.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
No. You're still considerate. I don't care. I just saw it. For just a second, I thought he was. See, is that their first? He's at the door. Just let him, he's gonna get frostbite.
Oh my God, come on now.
That's cool. Great, great.
I have 2 handbills in the back. From the last couple of years. Yeah. I'm sitting on so much. I got it. It's all for the club, but I never know when to pull it out.
Always pull it out, Charles. Always pull it out.
Can I ask you, can you go back for a second, just to the still?
What about it? All right, hold on.
You have a question?
Lucas has a question. I got to go back.
Tommy's not shocked.
Where I'm going to still?
No, Lucas, you can't pull it out.
All right here.
Yeah. So hold on. You're boiling it. It's going up here, right?
Yeah.
And normally there's plates in the other
No,
ones.
there's no plates.
I said normally there's in the other ones there's plates. So this just boils out and goes that way.
Yeah.
And then where does it go?
Into a condenser on the other side of that wall. That turns it back into a liquid.
Okay.
So it's vapor going all the way up that and out the line arm. Out the...
And the ones that I know are like it's all the way up and there's little windows and there's all these plates and all that is where the vapors and stuff come on.
Still, they go up.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're still going up and out.
Yeah. But it doesn't go out like that.
No.
Okay. And so it goes out, and that's where they were showing that water, and it's running through and condensing.
That's one type of condenser. That's an unusual type of
Yeah.
old school way.
Old school.
They usually have shell and tube condensers, which are tubes
Inside
little tubes inside with cold water
Yeah.
running through them to cool down the vapors and turn it back into a liquid.
Got it.
Yeah. All right. Lucas, I'm actually going to send him outside now.
Yeah, he needs some time to play with the ball. He needs to.
Yeah, we're gonna put him upstairs with Leo for a little bit, just to.
I get him riled up.
Sorry, I arrived late. Which one are we up to?
We're on the Bocan.
Okay, good. I'll start there, and I'll do the other one.
We're kind of wrapping up. Well, almost wrapping up.
We're on the second floor. Made the turn.
Copper bacon, Vinny.
Okay.
See,
I like this.
It's very good. Yeah.
Love the nose.
I think this is really good for, it's not a, this wasn't a super expensive whiskey. Actually, let me pull up how much the pounds were on these, because I ordered these all together, so it should be pretty easy for me to find.
Is it sweet, or is it sweet because the last one was?
Well, it's fully matured in Oloroso sherry, so you're definitely getting that sherry influence on this one quite strongly, which you typically do with Tomatin as well. Whenever they're maturing in whatever type of barrel, and then this is 15 years, so it's got some age on it too. But let's see here. Okay. Yeah, so this one was 97 pounds. A little more. 130. Yeah, 130. So not too bad. The Infrequent Flyers Croftengea was 130 pounds. So again, we're talking 170. Yeah, 175, 180. And the Cragganmore was 340 pounds.
Yeah, that's the 500. That's the 500 one.
Yeah, so that one was more. And then there was, on top of those prices, a nice 10% government tariff price. U.S. It says on the receipt, U.S. government tariff, 10%. So add that in, folks.
Wait, who paid that? Wait a minute. What?
Add that in, folks.
Yeah.
All right.
That's why this was 85 instead of 45.
Wait till we get the 200% government tariff.
At least we're not.
How about there's a concept of a deal?
For now.
This is
It's
very
going
nice.
downhill fast.
Shipping go up too?
Is this peated? Because I'm getting a little smoke on it.
Shipping is tough. Oh, I don't know about post office, but yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, it's peated, Vinny. It's Highland peat, so it's that
That's
sweeter.
that's what it is. Yeah, I kind of noticed that, and yeah, because very like butterscotch, vanilla, raisins, coffee, all very nice, very good. Oh, and 50% is very drinkable.
Yeah, it definitely smells like butterscotch, Vinny, for sure.
Yeah, I like this one very
I'm
much.
trying to remember what this reminds me of. There's something it definitely reminds me of. Huh. I'm gonna struggle with that. Pretty good for a 15-year at 97 pounds or whatever it was. I mean, that's not bad for a 50% solid 1 week production from a distillery. Yeah, definitely got sweetness. I mean, it's in the back of my throat now. I got all this sherry.
Charles, you may have said this, but isn't coo in Gaelic dog?
Yeah, so it actually is a dog
So
or
it's like dog of the night or smoke or
I'm not moving.
maybe we should ask Leo.
well, because when I was looking for new names for Leo, I remember coo came up. CU, not COO. That's a cow, which is confusing.
I'll be looking into that for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it right here. It's ghost dog.
Ghost dog. Yeah.
I have a new favorite thing now. Correct.
Mythical creature from Scottish folklore, often described as a black dog that haunts the Tomatin area where this experimental peated whiskey is made. Legend tells of a spectral hound that dissolves into blue smoke, and the whiskey itself is known for its smoky, sweet, and complex flavors from various cask maturations.
Sounds like Leo.
The Bocan is in Marvin's Square.
Yeah, I have what you are describing.
The Bocan.
It says it's pronounced Ku Bocan with a soft throaty.
Right.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Bocan. Bocan.
So it's a werewolf. No.
There, Wolf.
Where?
There.
It's a generation of Mel Brooks fans.
Yeah.
I
Right,
like
all right,
looking into
guys.
these things.
All right,
You
all
guys-
right. So here we go. We're done with the ghost dog. We're gonna move on.
Rubbing your head.
Very nice.
Yeah. All right. So our next distillery. This is actually becoming one of the cult distilleries in Scotland now.
Why? That was my question. Why?
So there's a lot of reasons why. So Daftmill is very, very small distillery that basically does everything from grain to glass. So they're, it started and run by, and I have a video for this, started and run by a farmer distiller who then creates batches or blends based off of the season. So there's 4 or 5 different seasonal releases every year. They're very small releases, so there's not a lot of bottles of Daftmill that are out there. And they've been around now long enough that we're having some pretty seriously aged single malt, and they're not open to the public. It's a very kind of like farm distillery that has a lot of love. There's a lot of people in the whiskey community, especially in the UK, that are Daftmill crazy, which, in the US, we don't really understand who they are yet. Who knows? Maybe someday there'll be a player here in the US market, but for the most part, nobody really knows who Daftmill is.
Are they available yet in the US?
No. Well, actually, I did see some available on one of the distributors' websites, but we haven't been able to get any at this point.
I
That's
know
not to say that we won't get some, but there's not a lot of it. So that's kind of the challenge. What did you say, Dave?
I've seen it on the shelf. And
yeah, you've seen it? Okay.
Not recently, but we've had it.
Yeah, so they're a single malt Scotch distillery located in a converted barn at the Daftmill farm in Fife. So near, where St. Andrews is and all that stuff. The distillery was granted a license in 2005, so they're only 21 years old now, to produce whiskey, and was first produced on December 16th of 2005. So they're barely 20 years old at this point. They're built in a converted meal mill and using unpeated malt. Daftmill has a maximum production capacity of only 20,000 liters of alcohol per year. That is like nothing. Okay, we're talking tiny. Ballindollach, which we've already had, a few tastings ago, which is a very, very small distillery. They're making I think it was 200,000 liters. So this is a tenth of the size of Ballindollach. So really, 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 really tiny. Its first release was introduced as Daftmill 2005 12-year inaugural release. All the grain used in distillation is produced on the farm. Okay, so we're tasting tonight a 15-year-old that was distilled in 2009, bottled in 2024. This one was 170 pounds, so not inexpensive. $225. When you buy drams in Scotland, you're typically paying 15 or 20 pounds per dram. So not cheap. But again, it's highly sought after, and people love it. So I was pretty excited to have a bottle of this, for our tasting tonight. I don't know what season this is, because I know they do come out in seasons, and it doesn't actually say on the bottle. Let me quickly look at my.
I'm going to say spring.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh no, it doesn't. No,
I'm going fall.
Now this one's 56.3% ABV, 15 years old.
You can smell the farm on this, taste the farm.
Right. I don't know why.
Grassy, herbal notes.
It's nice.
Citrus,
this is
like
delicious.
orange, honey. That's what I'm getting.
What was the cask, Charles? PX? No?
It doesn't say on the bottle.
I thought on the back.
Oh yeah, it does. Sorry. 20 casks. Okay, so there were 20 casks that went into this bottling. First fill ex bourbon. 19 of them are first fill ex bourbon. One of them is XPX. So 5% of this is XPX cask. Distilled in June, July, or August of 2009. They were matured in the lower level of Warehouse 2 before being bottled in December 2024 at the traditional Fife strength. They only produce, sometimes they produce only 100 casks a year. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're tasting this. Very, very small production. So
it's wonderful.
And you were saying that this is soft.
I know this is being recorded, but Charles, haven't we been told that he's not the friendliest?
I mean, if you're a farmer and you got to deal with
Yeah.
crazy whiskey crowd and nerds. You probably
That's what makes people like it so much is he hates you.
Got a real New York City feel to it.
Yeah.
Into you.
Very Fife, the kingdom of Fife.
I don't hate the whiskey though. I'm getting orange, citrus, honey.
It's
very
beautiful.
herbal and in those grassy.
I really like the whiskey too. I think it's
Yeah,
great.
delicious.
All right, let me play a video of this guy since we're talking about him. This is a pretty good video, I think. This video is the narrator is Arthur Motley, who Holly and I just went and saw 2 weeks ago in Boston. He was one of the original owners or founders of the Royal Mile Whiskey Shop. He's since then left and is consulting now. But we've done a bunch of really great history demonstrations by him with the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. So you're going to have to turn your volume up for him. This is the volume for whatever reason is kind of soft on this video. So just keep that in mind. I'll put the closed captions on as well.
I hope he finishes by saying, "Get off of my lawn."
Yeah, right. Okay, ready? It's really hard to hear.
Daftmill is one of those whiskies with extra meaning. It's an archetype of this.
So the first time I met Francis Cuthbert was at our whiskey show, Whiskey Prince, and he used to come along as a whiskey fan. I knew he was a farmer who grew barley for the whiskey industry, and then one year he announced he was going to build himself a distillery. A couple of years later, he was back, and sure enough, he built a distillery with no fanfare and was distilling it. And the whiskey turned 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. Francis still hadn't bottled any of it. In a very modest way, he was saying that it just wasn't good enough. No way he was going to bottle it yet. And we all had to wait. And wait we did, and he kept coming back. And finally, 12 years old, he released this whiskey. He built up this network with so many people excited for the launch of Daftmill.
Distillery has to operate around the quiet times on the farm. So, spring, autumn, we're busy showing the barley, planting the potatoes, getting cattle out to grass, and all those jobs. So, the distillery is silent. At the moment, in the winter time, when there's not so much going on, and in the midsummer, June and July, we make whiskey. It's nothing new, it's what people did 200 years ago.
Some whiskies are about more than just flavour, they have extra meaning. And Daftmill is one of those extra meaning. So we know
it's like
that Francis, this lovely farmer, does everything himself on site, from growing the barley to mashing it, distilling it, filling it into casks, checking those casks, which casks are ready to be bottled. You know when you open a bottle of Francis's whiskey that it is his whiskey. It's him who has spent those dark winter days in this beautiful still house, distilling quiet, solid, and making this product.
The exclusive Daftmill single cask will be available for Royal Mile whiskies in early summer.
It's near
We kept it full
St. Andrews
the
area?
exact release date. Follow us on social.
All right. Thank you, Arthur. All right, so there you go. You got to see a little bit of the founder there. You can tell, real small place. He only makes whiskey, for short periods of time throughout the year. So totally has a cult following. It's pretty crazy. We do these trips with Greg Schwartz from the Water of Life. He did get to visit there like a year ago or so. Maybe it was even 2 years ago now, but he was so excited just to hear his excitement about being able to go visit, because they don't allow visitors. They don't have tours. They will bring in, you know, industry people from time to time to visit, but it's a special visit. It's one of those, you know, that you have to get access to do. So maybe someday we'll get to Daftmill. We'll see. That would be fun because I've really enjoyed what I've had from them. I've probably tasted 5 or 6 different Daftmills now, and I have to say they've all been really good. You know, some are much better than others, but they're all really solid. And I love that kind of craft style. It reminds me a little bit of Dailuaine from Ireland that we visited in September last year. Very small producer, but really, really solid spirit. Same with Dornoch up in you know, the Highlands there. They're making just such small amounts, but such really great quality whiskey with their own stills. So it's that labor of love that comes through sometimes with the spirit that we enjoy. Okay. Wow. That was good. I like that one.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to end with another really great distillery. We've had some really fun distilleries on this part 8. I know the flavor profiles have been very different. Some peated, some unpeated, different finishings, all that kind of stuff. But
Scotland A to Z is tough to beat, Charles.
yeah, these are pretty good. These are pretty good. These are fun, and for me, it's a lot of fun just to try and find bottles that would be worthy of Scotland A to Z. You know, the group the small group, which was just like 5 people that did the A to Z that inspired me to do this tasting. They came from like scientific backgrounds and you know, startup companies and investor money, and so they were buying like these $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 bottles and doing their A to Z, and I was like, oh my god, you know, we can't compete. But it's been fun finding kind of, I mean, some of these are reachable and some of these are not reachable bottles. You know, some we carry in the shop occasionally, like tonight we have the Craigellachie, but you know, the whole purpose of this is just to have fun and try new things and almost force yourself to just taste through all of these distilleries. So, all right, so we're going to end up with Dailuaine. We've become really big fans of Dailuaine, and they've as well become kind of a cult following. You know, again, not a distillery that releases their own whiskey under their own brand. This is all independent bottlings that get barrels of or casks of Dailuaine. They are another workhorse from Diageo. So we know all of their whiskey for the most part is going into blends. However, we're very lucky to be able to taste some of their casks by people who are able to obtain them. The distillery goes back to 1852. So a lot of tonight goes back to that 1850s to 1900 range, which is kind of fun. I mean, we have Cragganmore, Craigellachie, Tomatin. Those are all Dailuaine. So 4 of them all are in that 50-year window, which is kind of fun. They again were on the Strathspey Railway. So here we go again, starting with Cragganmore, talking about the railway. We're ending with the railway as well. They're in the Speyside, beautiful area of the Speyside, kind of a hidden valley. I've driven past Dailuaine. I have not visited. They're not open to the public, but you kind of drive past and you go down this hill and they're kind of off to the left, and you know, it's just beautiful, beautiful areas. But tonight we're drinking a Gordon MacPhail. So we're going back to kind of classic independent bottlings here. This is one of their connoisseurs choice bottlings. This one I don't think was available here in the US. I did get this one shipped over. This was not cheap. This was 250 pounds. So with the the tariff and all that. Yeah, so we're talking 350 or something like that. Somewhere in that range. This is 24 years old. This is a refill sherry butt, so not first fill sherry butt. They obviously bottled this as it was getting close to falling below the legal limit for whiskey.
Is this a single cask?
Yeah, single cask. This is only 41.6%. Okay, so we're ending with our lowest proof whiskey of the night. There were only 278 bottles of this. So think about a refill sherry, but with only 278 bottles. So that means that there was a lot of angel share for one, and the whiskey was evaporating quickly, and the proof was falling quickly as well.
Pretty amazing nose for low ABV.
Yep. Yeah, so this is a pretty special bottle from Dailuaine. Let me see if I have anything else on this one. I do have a video to finish up this tasting. Yeah, let me play the video while we're tasting this whiskey. And let me make sure it's ready to go here.
And I just, yeah.
Is this their official tasting notes?
I don't know, I found it on a website. I don't know.
Let's see. Okay. All right, I'm going to share this video right now.
Dried fruits, raisins, figs, rich chocolate, soft sherry sweetness, dark coffee.
Just keep in mind, like take a look at you know, where they're located.
Yes. Sure, what's all about. Oh, right. Gaze in your eyes.
Huh? Oh, good. Those are the old malting floors that they don't use anymore. Very kind of
Hey, there's your thing. There it is.
Not everybody has this.
Guy drives around, fix the wall.
Must be nice.
You don't have.
It's like
I mean, they're a workhorse. They're used for plants. Wash bags. Stop rollers. Look at those. Those are pretty good size.
So they all live alongside.
Yeah, there's a shell and tube outside. A lot of distilleries have them. Oh, there you go. There's quite a few inside too.
Instead of it going through the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most conditions are like that now with the cold water.
Inside the drink,
right?
Yeah. Instead of like having them like go outside. Yeah. Have a big.
Okay. All right. So there you go. We got a little sense of Dailuaine. Obviously, they don't have tours there. It's a pretty special opportunity if you get in there to visit. A lot of these distilleries, you know, these big workhorses, and Dailuaine is a workhorse. You're just not going to be able to go inside and visit, you know, they're not set up for tourists. They don't even have an expression that they put out every year or anything like that. So Really tasty though, I have to say. This is really a special way to kind of wrap up this tasting. This is
I'm surprised at 41.6%.
yeah, 41.6%.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's fruity. It's good.
As a finish and everything, yeah.
This could be my favorite.
Smells great, tastes great.
24 years, so lots of age on this one. You know, we started with 26 years with the Cragganmore, which was delicious. We're ending with 24 years with the Dailuaine. Obviously, these are the gems of the night, just from an age statement and a price point, but I think flavor profile, they're pretty damn good too. Chad, holy crap, the guy with the cold is saying best A to Z yet. Thank you. I don't know about that. I mean, we've had some pretty special A to Zs. I mean, the fish cast from Avondare. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you're never gonna forget that.
Remember that distillery for life.
You're gonna forget the good ones. I swear to God, you're gonna forget the good whiskeys.
You're right.
And you're gonna remember the bad whiskeys.
You're right.
That's compare everything to
Say
it.
by far the best. I don't know what that means. You know, like
What was the Arbiki one? What was that?
Arbiki wasn't great either,
No.
unfortunately.
I had a-
However,
that
that was tough. Yeah, that was tough.
I'm with
But
him.
in the calendar, we had their rye law, which was pretty good. Wait, no, that wasn't Arbiki. That was
Really
Inch
bad
Derney.
with me, I could tell you the
That
three
was
worst
Inch
whiskeys
Derney.
I've ever
All
had.
right. All right. So
But you don't remember
online,
the
we're
best
going to go
ones.
through really quickly, kind of your top 2 or 3. You know, we can kind of go through top 2 or 3. We'll start with Dave and Diane. What were your top 1 or 2? You're on mute still. Oh, there you go.
Nope, we're back. We're back live. So I had like diverse likes on here. I love the draft mill because it was like a nice light, really tasty whiskey. But I really like the Craigellachie also because it was intense and in your face.
And you're a wine guy, so that makes sense too.
Yeah.
Yep. Diane,
Oh gosh.
you like the Guinness before? And then
Well, yeah.
after?
Okay, yeah, there's that. Okay. No, the Bocan.
Okay, nice.
I believe that was one of my favorites. And gosh, I kind of liked them all differently.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm just gonna say that one right
All
now.
right, Kubakan.
Yeah.
We'll go with the ghost dog. All right.
Yeah,
Dave
Ghost
Tobias.
Dog.
Oh, I think the Cragganmore and the Dailuaine are made it for me. I know that's predictable, but the rest were all very interesting though, and they were not a bad one in the bunch.
Okay.
A couple of them slapped you in the face a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah. We woken up on a Wednesday sometimes. So yeah. All right, Luke, how about you?
So my top was the Cragganmore.
All right.
I learned that I really love scotches that have like a cantaloupe note in them, and that really had that for me. And then the Daftmill.
Cragganmore, Daftmill. All right, Larry.
I'm actually going to follow him. That's exactly right. I have the Cragganmore, the Daftmill. My number 3 is probably the Q-Bacon.
All right.
Or whatever, however you pronounce it.
Yeah, the
Copper bacon.
Copper bacon.
Yeah, copper bacon.
I mean, if you had a 15-year-old bacon, you might get really sick.
Not if it's sealed in whiskey.
You have to call it prosciutto.
All right, Dale, you're up.
All right, so my top one was the ghost dog, and then the Daftmill and the Craigellachie tied.
All right. Wow. All right. We got a mix now. What's the only one that we're not getting here? The Croftengea. Croftengea. All right. All right. Holly, how about you?
My video is a little slow, so don't worry about the lag. Actually, this is true. The Daftmill and the Croftengea.
Wow. Daftmill. Holly's become a whiskey nerd.
I know. Not the Worm Tub distilleries. I think the wine was too much on the Craigellachie for me.
Daftmill nerd. All right. There we go. BJ.
I'm going with the Bocan and the Daftmill.
Nice. All right. Kubakin's getting some love tonight. All right,
Yep.
Vinny, I know you started late, but
Yeah, but I caught up. Got all 6 in, so I can tell you my favorites. I would say it's a tie between the Cragganmore and the Dailuaine. Big fan of Dailuaine now. And my third is going to be the Kubakin.
okay. I was gonna think you just did an infinity dram and poured them all together.
Could have done that too, but you know what? I was able to catch up.
That'd be a pretty damn good infinity dram, I have to say.
It'd be a waste of
Hey, listen, I got them out of the library meeting in 40 minutes.
I mean, all you need is pour all these in one glass with a straw, and you're good to go.
Good to go.
You know, I do that at least once a week.
Definitely need the straw though. The straw is crucial.
345 bottles. You know, you have to figure out a way to be.
Yeah,
it's a different style of Long Island. Is that a Brooklyn iced tea?
Forget about it.
All right, Marvin.
I thought the Daftmill was delightful,
Okay.
so I'm going to give that a number 1. And then the Dailuaine was really good.
All right, nice.
And I thought it was the weirdest of the night, and I think I'm going to put it in here because no one voted for it, but the Croftengea, however you say,
Yeah.
I give it a bronze medal because
Okay. Bronze medal for Croftengea. Holly gave it a silver, and Marvin gave it a bronze. All right. Well, it's still, representing in a way. Chad with the runny nose.
Yeah. This is why my video's not on. You guys will be seeing me blow my nose all night. Without a doubt, Cragganmore. And then I'm pretty much a tie between the Daftmill and Dailuaine.
Okay. All right. I mean, those were pretty popular. All right. We're going to go around our room here. Tony, what do you got?
I have the Dailuaine and the Kubakin.
Dailuaine, copper bacon.
Right.
Jim?
I gotta go Cragganmore and copper bacon, but the Dailuaine was really interesting.
Cragganmore, copper bacon, Dailuaine. Quaid.
I can't really pick. I liked them all except for the wine overpowered the Craigellachie for me. But
Okay.
other than that, those.
Okay. So he liked everything, but the wine was too much on the Craigellachie. Got it.
I would agree with that.
Gil?
I'll do the Dailuaine, and then the Daftmill. But I
Dailuaine.
really liked the Cragganmore too as well.
Okay. Yeah. Dailuaine, Daftmill, and Cragganmore. And we've got Shalom.
We're in 100% agreement. Dailuaine, Daftmill, Cragganmore.
Dailuaine, Daftmill, Cragganmore. Wow. Here we go. All right, Lucas.
Cragganmore and then the bacon.
Cragganmore and the bacon. All right.
Is bacon smoky?
I can't wait to tell Tomatin that they should just call their whiskey the bacon.
Copper
bacon.
Copper bacon.
We will be their influencers, or no, their brand ambassadors here in the U.S. The Copper Bacon brand
And the dog
ambassadors.
tie-in could be like bacon strips or something for whiskey lover bacon strips.
Just add a little bacon fat to your next tomato. See how that does.
Oh, speaking of which, all right, let's do before I say goodbye to everybody online. Okay, I don't know if I have everyone. Oh shoot, it's hard to read. I'm gonna try. All right, so next A to Z, this is what our lineup should be. However, I don't know what it will be if I can't find some of these. I should be able to find these. Actually, I have 2 of them already, so that's a good thing. Out of my own personal stash. So Dalmore is the first one. And that's of course, if I can't find a Dallas Dew. Dallas Dew is, I mean, I could start looking and it could be possible, but it might be $3,000. But so we have Dallas Dew, which probably not. Dalmore, Dalmunach, which should be possible. We get some of those in the shop occasionally. Dailuaine, which I actually have a handfill.
Love.
So we're good there. We got the Dailuaine. Deanston, which I actually have a handfill. So we're good there. Dornoch,
which I actually have a handful.
I do. but it's only 50 ml. So I don't know what, or 500
We're all gonna
ml.
get like one.
So I gotta figure. I don't know about Dornoch. I mean, Dornoch might be really hard. We'll have to think about that one.
Come early.
I mean, the only other way to do it would be to get like 2 Dornochs, which I might be able to get 2 Dornochs somehow. I don't know.
Just do a half ounce pour, it's fine.
And then the last one is, I mean, it's all based on price anyhow. So if it's a half out, if it's a smaller pour, it'll be cheaper tasting. So Dufton is the last one. So that should be easy to get. So yeah, I'll start the process. We have 3 or maybe 2.5 at this point already good to go. So we'll see what happens with the others. But on that note, I'm going to sign off online and hope you enjoyed A to Z tonight.
Good night.
Good
night.
Thanks.
It was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
You know what?